In this video, you'll explore how the FlatList component can be used to render a large, scrollable list of items in a React app. During this process, you'll learn how to use the data and renderItem properties to pass props to the FlatList component. Imagine you have a very long list of menu items that you want to display in the app for the Little Lemon restaurant, which spans several screens. Let's find out how to do this while maintaining a fast, smooth app experience for the user. I've opened the file for the menu items component. In here, I have an array called menu items to display. When I expand this array, you'll find that it contains all the items that are in the menu of the Little Lemon restaurant. Notice that each item has a name and a unique ID associated with it. Now let's find out how you can utilize the FlatList component to display this item on a mobile screen in a performant manner. First, I need to import the FlatList component from React Native. In the return statement of the menu items component, I'll then render the FlatList component. Note that there are two properties that are required when you're using the FlatList component, the first being data. Data represents the array that is going to contain the list of items, so in this case it's menu items to display. So I'm going to pass this entire array to our FlatList component by typing data equals, followed by the item name in curly braces. The next required property is renderItem. RenderItem is essentially a function that the FlatList will use to go over each item in the array. So I've passed in the array and set up a function to go over each item inside of it. But I still need to tell the app how to render the items individually. To do this, let's create a function that will be called once the renderItem is invoked. Prior to the return statement in the menu items component, I'll create a renderItem callback function. It will have each menu item from the array and will render a component called item. To this component, I'll pass the name of the item as the prop. The reason why I am passing the name is that each menu item has a name property assigned to it, as you might recall from the array. All right. Now the next step is to create this item component. So the renderItem is going to render each item and it's going to pass in the name attribute. But where is the item component? I haven't created that yet, so let's take care of that now. So outside our menu items component, I'll create the item component and give it the prop name, so that it gets that data from the parent component. I'll also give it a style of the inner container, which I've already assigned. Inside of the view tags, I'll add an HTML text element to show each item name when the component is rendered. Notice that the item component gets the name as a property, and I can simply display it. But how does that get the property? Again, that is achieved with the renderItem method. The FlatList component is now complete. The required props have been passed, the data is retrieved from the array in the menu items to display component, and the renderItem method can automatically parse through each item in the menu array. I also created a smaller component called the item component, which makes the code more readable and displays the menu item name. To wrap up, let's examine how the app appears in an iOS emulator. You have a View Menu text header and a list of items on the menu. If you scroll down, more items will appear. Remember, this is not built by the scroll view, which means that items are only rendered as you encounter them and are removed when you scroll away. This makes for a much more performant component for handling such a large list. In this video, you learned how to use the FlatList component to efficiently render a long list of menu items, such as the one that needs to be displayed in the Little Lemon app. This includes using the component's data and renderItem properties to pass props to it.